Hello everyone, and welcome to the first episode of Kerbal Space Program. I asked what game I should use to fill in the Wednesday time slot, and the overwhelming winner was this KSP. Just in case you're not familiar with it, which I find kind of hard to believe at this point, but just in case, this game is all about building rockets, planes, rovers, and all sorts of other stuff in order to get these little green guys into space, and they are the eponymous Kerbals. So, the way we build these space vehicles will be made clear once we are in the game. It's very complex and very satisfying. My history with space simulation games started when I first discovered a game called Orbiter in the early 2000s. That was a real hardcore simulator, and I learned a lot about orbital mechanics from that game. So when KSP first came out, I was intrigued, and I was a bit let down how bare bones the game was at that point. There were no other planets, there were no HUD displays, about the elevation, or we didn't have the orbital map and things like that. Thankfully, KSP went through an amazing transformation since the first early access version, so now it's a really good game. Now, before we get started, I just want to list the mods I'm using, which is at this point all cosmetic right now, except for one. The first one is called Scatterer, which creates atmospheric haze when we are inside atmosphere. This main menu screen is on the moon, or as it's called, the MUN. So we cannot tell, but when we are in the game, it will be easier to tell. Then we have the environmental visual enhancements, or EVE for short, which is responsible for these nice clouds on the planet Kerbin. Then we have the Astronomer's Visual Pack, which is just a bucket of extra visual goodies that kind of enhance the other graphical mods. Also, that mod pack came with a high-resolution skybox. It had a really high detailed, high-resolution Milky Way texture for the sky, but in my opinion, it was kind of distracting, so if you don't mind, I got rid of it. Also, it was so high-resolution that it was kind of messing with my own resolution, creating some kind of resolution artifact. It's hard to explain what it was, but it was kind of distracting. Anyways, the last visual mod we are using is called Waterfall, which enhances the way the engine exhaust will look in the game, making them a bit more realistic. The only gameplay altering mode I have at the moment is the docking alignment indicator. By default, the game doesn't have this feature, and I am frankly baffled at why this is. Having a docking display is kind of basic things to having these kinds of games, but for some reason we need to use a mod for it. It's kind of weird. Anyways, we have it, so that thing is sorted. I don't rule out the possibility of adding more mods in the future, but at the start I would like to keep things light, so I will not go, full realism overhaul or anything like that. Just as close to vanilla as I can, while still making things a tiny bit better. Anyway, if I was using the realism overhaul, I would fail miserably, so nobody wants to see that. As for the goals for this series, I was trying to decide if we should have a single big goal we are trying to accomplish, or if we should just go along and see where we end up. Ultimately, I went with the second option. Instead of working towards accomplishing a big mission, like, for example, get science from every celestial body or things like that, we are just going to concentrate on smaller, short-term goals. So the first goal we would like to accomplish will be landing on the moon, or as it's called in this game, the MUN. Excuse me. Then we will see where we want to go from there, which is most likely going to be Duna or some other planet. As for the game mode we are going to play, we are going to play the simple career game mode. I don't really want to set any kind of house rules for myself. I just play this normally. I will revert flights quite often. If I make some kind of big error, if I mess things up that are clearly my fault, I will try to force myself to deal with them. But, you know, if we have a failed launch or something like that, just think of these reverts as some kind of simulation or something. I don't know. Let's see. In the beginning, I will play through the entire rocket building and the mission flight process entirely. But, you know, as the game progresses, these things will get more and more complicated and more longer and longer. So, as we progress in the mission, in the game, expect a little bit of adding time lapses more and more. So let's see. We are going to use the career, as I said. We are going to use the normal difficulty, and let's call it YouTube. And for our flag, I made a special flag for us. It's just the NASA logo with my Dwarf Fortress icon in it. And I believe that is it. Let's get started. Yes, I want to overwrite, because this is not the first time I try to do this one. This is the second time I'm trying to record this. So, we have the usual welcoming message, that's fine. Now, let's see. First of all, let's get some missions. And the first mission is always gather scientific data from Kerbal and launch our first vessel. For now we can only have 2 missions, so that's all we can do. And let's get started on building the first rocket, which is going to be as simple as they come. Again, another welcoming message. We are going to use this Mark 1 command pod because these Soyuz or was it Vostok? I think it's modeled after the Vostok capsules. They are extremely top heavy and they are not at all aerodynamic. If you put this on the rocket, it's going to flip over very easily. So instead we are going to use these because they are extremely aerodynamic and they are less top heavy. Then we just add a parachute. We can also add science experiments. This is the mystery goo. I will add 3 of them because I will use one of them to get science from the launch pad, another one when we are flying, and then the third one when we are splashed down. Also, let's see, we are going to put them a little bit, see, turn off. There we go. Make it local. Yes, that's it. That's what I want. And move them a little bit inside so they look more integral, look like they are more integral parts of the capsule. And that is all we can do. We don't need fins right now. We just need the only engine we have right now, which is a simple solid rocket booster, solid fuel rocket booster. Make sure the staging is correct. So the first stage is the engine and the second stage is the parachute. Let's name it. Let's just go for Icarus 1. I know it's not exactly the most original, but what can you do? We managed to cover up the logo, but we have the logo right here. It looks stretched on this flag, but on the actual vehicle it's more circular, so I would like to go with the vehicle logo. So let's launch. So let's see, we are on the launch pad. as you can see, is just a piece of clearing, and that is all we can do right now. We are going to upgrade it maybe in this episode. So first we get science from the launchpad, so the mystery goo. There we go. We have two options. We can transmit the data, but we are going to lose a lot of the science value. If we keep it and bring it back to the space center, then we get more. So we are going to keep it. Then we get a crew report. There we go, also keep it. And since we are landed, we can make an EVA, which is short for extra vehicular activity, and get an EVA report, also keep it. Also, let's take the science data, collect, and store them in the capsule. That's it. Now, when I press T, we will engage the SAS, which is kind of a stabilization system. There is a gyroscope inside this capsule, which can keep us a little bit more straight. So 3, 2, 1, launch. I will immediately face towards the water because I want to splash down there. There we go, we ran out of fuel. Next we are flying, so I will take another crew report, another mystery go observation. At this point I will turn off the SAS. There we go, now we are just coasting. And when we are getting close to the water, I will engage the parachute. So we don't actually splash, we just gently fall into, coast into the water. Also, when we are having these kind of boring parts, I will engage the time acceleration, if you don't mind. There we go, we are getting close. So I will engage the parachute now. This, at first it will just slow us down a little bit, but as we get closer it will deploy fully. Which is right about now. And there we go. And as soon as we fall into the water, again time acceleration, I will get some extra science and then we will go back to the space center. Okay, let's slow down and splash down. There we go. Okay, we landed with the hatch underwater, but no matter, we can just use that, what do you call it? That gyroscope to rotate us up, facing up. So again, Mr. U, there we go, crew report. No, don't overwrite. What we do is, again, we are landed, so we get out of the vehicle, take a report, take the data, there we go, store them, get back in the capsule, and now we cleared that crew report. We can make another one. There we go. Now we should have all the science we can get from the first mission. So let's recover the vessel. And we are back home. So we managed to get 31 science, but we have 43. Did we start with extra science? I don't know. Doesn't matter. It was only maybe 12, so that's negligible anyway. So we have some science. Because of the missions, we also made some extra money. And Jebediah earned a little bit of... No, he didn't. He earned 1 XP, but we need more for him to level up. So, let's see. So we have contracts that we completed, we are finished some milestones, and we can get some extra missions. Now that we have finished the first 2 missions, we have some extra contracts we can accept. These are civilian contracts. Let's see. This one is easy because we can do it on the launch site, so that's fine. The same this one, we can do this on the launch site. This one as well, but we only have 2 mission slots, so we'll need to come back later. And as for the science, we have 43 science points, 5 for this one, 5 for this one, and we can unlock either these 2 or only this. Let's see. I will go for this one because this one gives us extra science experiments, which is always nice. And then we can just get this one. And after we get more science, we can unlock this as well. That's it. That is it for that. So now that we have extra missions, let's just quickly complete them because we can do them on the launch pad. So we have these. And let's see, we need the flea, which is already added, and we also need to use the hammer solid rocket booster. For this, I will just add it on the sides like this, so we are almost at level. I will also remove all the fuel from them, so we don't actually launch. We are just going to get, we are just going to test them. Then we can also, let's see, add these new experiments, which is a barometer and a thermometer. And that is all we need. We can also remove this science, the Go containers, because for this particular mission we don't need them. We don't even need the parachute. And we can call this X01 because this is an experimental vessel. Yeah, that makes sense. And after we load in, there we go. Also, you can see the scatterer in action. It creates a bit of a atmospheric haze as we go further from the camera, which is always nice. So for these missions we need to test this one and this one. So those 2 contracts are complete, and just to make sure that we get some science as well, log this, log the temperature and log the pressure. There we go. At this point we can recover the vessel. And that is all there is to it. Let's see what's next. So we made 6 extra science, but we need more. But we made some extra money. No XP gain, that was expected. Next up, we can test the decoupler at the launch site. We are not ready to orbit just yet. Let's see. I don't really like doing these missions that require a specific altitude at specific speeds because I'm kind of not exactly good at keeping an eye on these when we are launching, so I like to, ignore them. This one as well. I also don't like these missions that require us to go to a specific area on the planet. I just like to do, wherever we go, that's where we go. So at this point, maybe we can escape the atmosphere. So let's do just that, because yeah, we have 2 missions. So we can test the decouplers at the launch site, and after that we can escape the atmosphere. And also, let's see, we are not quite ready for this one yet. Before we escape the atmosphere, I will upgrade the astronaut complex, because after we upgrade the astronaut complex, we are going to be able to perform EVAs, extra vehicular activities, while we are in flight. And when we are out of the atmosphere, that is going to be very beneficial for us. Also, let's see, maybe we can exchange some of our money or reputation for some science. This one reduces the money we get, but increases the science. This is a one-time buying science points. We should do this one, but we don't have enough reputation for that. When we get enough reputation, then we can maybe... yeah, we can forego 25% of our reputation, but we will increase the science income. But for that we need more reputation. Before we get to that, let's finish the 2 missions we have right now, which is... yeah, this is complete. So let's first test this decoupler, which is in here, the TD12. We just need to, again, another experimental vessel, so let's just go to the launch site, test, and come back. There we go. So, let's see. We are on Kerbal at the launch site. We only need to space. Now this is 2 different vehicles technically, because we separated, so at this point we can just recover. Okay, let's see what's next. Okay, our funds are increasing, of course, because we are finishing contracts. We didn't make any science this time, and no XP gain for Jeb. Now let's see, what can we do? We can, of course, reject these contracts, because let's see. But we are going to lose reputation if we do so. So let's see, can I decline any of these without penalties? No, we cannot. So let's not do that. But let's see what... we are slightly above 0, so we can test another rocket booster at the launch site. That is great. Let's reject... let's reject this one. Oh, that's far from... we are not ready for this one. Escape trajectory out of Kerbal, no way. Let's try this. This one is a bit more doable. It only requires a very wide margin of altitude and a very generous speed. So I think we can do this one, but we are already full. So let's just test another rocket, and after that we can go for escaping the atmosphere. So you go, and we need the Thumper, which is the big solid rocket booster, solid fuel rocket booster. Again, we are going to remove the fuel because we are just going to test it. So there we go, run test. That's it, contract complete, and recover. That is it, our money is still increasing, no XP gain for Jeb. Okay, let's concentrate on getting out of the atmosphere right now. So I think we are ready to upgrade the astronaut complex. That will get us below 100,000, but that is fine. These early rockets are very cheap anyway, so I don't mind. So we need the parachute. Make sure we get these experiments. No, not that's it. Also, let's get 2 of them. There we go. And we should add back these. And Let's see. Oh, we need to local. There we go. That looks about right. Okay. Next up, do we have the heat shields? Yes, we do, but we don't. Yeah, we should add. Might as well. Then we add the decoupler, because we only really need the capsule to come back. And let's see. To get into orbit, we really need about 3400 delta V. But just to get out of the atmosphere, we are going to go straight up. So let's go for this and add 2 of these small ones. So let's see. At first, we are going to ignite these 2 small ones. See, can they actually lift us? Oh yes, the thrust to weight ratio is 4, so that is a lot. After that, we are going to decouple them when they run out, engage the middle one. Let's do them on the same stage. After this one runs out, we are going to get rid of that one as well. And when we fall back down, then we are going to engage the parachute. Do we have the nose cone yet? Yes, we do. We can reduce, excuse me. We can reduce atmospheric drag by adding these. I know it looks kind of suggestive, but that's rocketry. So at this point we can go for Icarus 2. Save, and we are ready to launch. This time I think I will go a bit to the west, because we already got signs from the water. But if we go to the left, to the left, then we are going to land maybe in the grasslands, which we have no signs from. So engage SAS and let's go for launch. We can monitor the current. Oh, there we go. There is a problem I made, so let's revert to launch. I'm not exactly sure that we are powerful enough to do this one with this setup. So again, let's try again, because I accidentally staged while this was still active. So again, let's concentrate on one thing, explaining one thing at a time. So we can enter maneuver mode right here, and here we can monitor the apoapsis and the periapsis of our craft. Apoapsis is the highest point it will reach compared to the surface, sea level. No, wait, yes, compared to the sea level. And periapsis is the lowest point that our current orbit has, which is, we are standing still, so it's basically the center of Kerbin. And we are also apoapsis, we are standing still, so it's about 70 meters above sea level, which is that, of course. So let's try not to mess up again. We got science from the launchpad already, so let's just go. We are going to run out pretty soon on these. There we go. And press space only once. So once we go above 70 meters, let's try not to deviate too much from upward trajectory. I think we are going to make it. There we go. Let's try not to burn up. We are going to escape the atmosphere easily. At this point we can get rid of it. And as soon as we reach 70 kilometers, we are out of the atmosphere. So I think we can, let's see, upper atmosphere, yes. We can get some extra science because we have the lower atmosphere already, but we don't have the upper atmosphere. There we go. And at this point, we are getting close to the Kerbal line, so yeah, I think we can EVA as soon as we are out, which is now. So we are officially in space. Let's observe the other goo container. Now we got 10 science, very nice. Then we get the pressure data, then we get the temperature, then we get the crew report, and let's not forget about the EVA report. So EVA, yes. Also, let's collect science data. Take this one as well. We cannot reset the goo containers because Jebediah is not a scientist. He's just a pilot. He's a pilot, so he cannot reset the goo containers. Either Bill or Bob is our scientist at the start, so they can reset these to reuse them. If we only have a pilot, then we cannot. So we have these. Let's collect the crew report as well, and let's get back inside. So let's see, let's zoom back in. And we are about, you know what, let's just speed up the time. And let's start falling back, that's it. And let's make sure that we are actually facing this way, because I want the heat shield to encounter the atmosphere first. Okay, now we can turn off the SAS. And I think we are going to land in the mountains. That is nice. That is a biome that we haven't encountered yet. Also, we managed to finish the Escape the Atmosphere contract. So, let's go home. Okay, now we are back in the atmosphere. Increase. That's it. At this point, maybe I can get still the upper atmosphere. Let's just reset that experiment. And thanks to the heat shield, we are just fine. I mean, this capsule can withstand quite a bit of heat on its own, but it doesn't hurt to have this one as well. So let's slow down. At this point we can engage the parachute. And I don't know if this counts as the mountain or the grassland or the midlands. Anyway, let's switch to ground radar mode. We are 4 kilometers up, 3 kilometers up, and we can engage the parachute. Let's see, we are flying over the mountains, that's it. Let's see, can I... Yes, pressure data as well. And once we land, also, can I get an EVA report while flying? Yes, that's it. Even more science. Let's make sure we don't actually fall off the capsule, so get back inside. And after we touch down, we can get just a little bit more science. There we go. So log this one as well, and this one, and get one more crew report and EVA report. So EVA, yes, get back inside, and crew report, and that is it. That is going to give us quite a bit of science. Okay, wow, 137. That is a nice amount of science for at the beginning of the game. And we already have over 200,000 because of the contracts we completed. Very nice. And Jeb had no XP. I think the next XP he will get is when he actually gets to orbit. Doesn't say. Anyway, at this point we upgraded the astronaut complex. We should upgrade the launch pad, because that will allow us to build heavier rockets. Let's see what kind of missions can we do. At this point we should be concentrating on reaching orbit. Let's see. Escape trajectory we are not ready for. Let's just go for the orbit missions. So let's see what we can unlock. Absolutely, we need general rocketry, and we can unlock 2 of these. This will help us get into orbit, that's for sure. And let's see. Let's just get this one, because this will allow us to get more science. Okay. So I think we are ready to do our first orbit. As I've said, we need about 3,400 delta V, which you can see on this display down here. Because we only have the capsule, it's 0 right now. Delta V is basically our the amount of acceleration we have available on the current ship. So without engines or fuel, we have 0. But we unlocked all these new toys we can play with. So let's see. Right after the capsule, we want to have the stage that is going to get us into orbit. Let's see. These engines have different utilities. So for example, these civil and the Reliant engines, they are great for launching the actual vessel, because they are very powerful and they perform about the same in atmosphere and out of atmosphere. There we go. As you can see, the thrust ESL, which is at sea level, and VAC, which is vacuum, they are almost the same. But this Terrier engine, it has a much more discrepancy. 14.7 something kilonewtons against 60 kilonewtons. That's a big difference. So yes, this engine is much weaker than these. That's why I'm saying that these engines are great for launching, but this engine is much more fuel efficient. So we are going to launch with these engines, but after we are relatively out of the atmosphere, we're going to switch to this one. So since we need to work backwards, so we are going to start with the stage that is going to give us the last kick. So let's give it like this. This is the last engine we are going to use. Then we add a decoupler, and then let's set the launch boosters, which is, we are going to use this one and this one together. Let's turn this one around so the paint job is a bit more sensible. And okay, the difference between the swivel and the Reliant, they are both for launching, but the Reliant doesn't have actual gimbals, which means it cannot steer the rocket. This one is just blasting the explosion straight down, and that's it. The swivel engine has a bit of a gimbal to it, so it can actually slightly change the trajectory of the rocket. So we are going to use this one as the main engine. We are right now at 1700 delta V. To give us a bit more kick, we can add side boosters. Let's place them as down as we can. Now let's see, should we use solid rocket boosters or liquid? With this we are 2800, 2900 almost. That is not enough. What about liquid rocket boosters? Liquid fuel rocket boosters, I mean. For these we can use the Reliant engine. About the same. Let's see. What if we don't use the Terrier? What if we use these small TUD side boosters? Let's see. That's more like it. Now this is almost 3400. I mean, at this point we are pretty much at the point where we can get out of the we can get into orbit, but I always like to have a bit of a margin for error. And let's just make this one white. There we go. Let's see, we can add a nose cone to reduce drag. Also at this point this rocket is so big that the gyroscope in the command module is not strong enough to keep us upright, so we should add some winglets as well, so we can actually force the rocket to go straight. Let's see what else. We are pretty much at our parts limit. You know what? Let's give this one a try. So we are going to start with these two engines. After they are spent, we are going to switch, drop them and switch to the middle engine. Maybe I should engage them both because we want to steer the rocket, so we need the gimbaling engine as well. So after this is spent, we get rid of them. After the middle one is spent, we get rid of it and engage the TUD engines. And we are going to rely on this fuel tank as the last resort. Anything else? Let's give another try to that Terrier engine. Is it really that weak? It's way too weak for now. It's only really usable outside the atmosphere, so what if we use another swivel engine? No, that's not going to happen. Let's just go with these two. So you go there, you go back in the middle. Okay, let's see what else do we have. No, that's fine. We don't need legs right now. We don't need radiators. We don't need batteries. It's going to be a short mission. We are not going to transmit the data, so we don't need these as well. We don't need this one because we can just get out and store them ourselves. Yeah, I think that's it. Okay, so make sure that the staging is correct. So you go here, then we decouple these, then we decouple this one, then engage like this. There we go. What if we give this one a swivel engine as well? Yeah, that gives us a bit of extra delta V, and that will give us extra control of the rocket. Okay, let's give it a try. So we are going for Icarus 3. Save, and let's give this a try. If we mess up, then it's just going to be a simulation, quote unquote. Okay, so engage SAS, throttle up, because this time we are using liquid engines, so we need to use throttle. The solid rocket boosters were using they were just blasting full power all the time. We can control these as we need them. So wait, this 32,000 to 3200. If we put this one, that's less. So let's just separate. Let's see. This is messed up. No, you go to this one. Yes, you get rid of this. So the staging was a bit all over the place, so make sure it goes correctly. We start with the 2 side boosters. After they run out, we drop them and engage the middle booster. After that one runs out, we drop it and engage the 2 side rockets. After those run out, we decouple the capsule. That's it. Okay, this one is correct now. Okay, so let's run this simulation. SAS engaged. We are throttled up and launch. You might see that these engine plumes are a bit different than vanilla because of the waterfall mod. So let's start pitching a bit to the east, because if you're not familiar with orbital mechanics, we want to go straight up, but we also want to gain horizontal speed so we don't actually fall back down. Okay, just keep pitching. At about 10,000 meter, 10 kilometers up, we should be about 45 degrees already. So we are on track, and we are about to run out of these boosters, and we are out. Drop and engage. The middle one, that's it. As we are leaving the atmosphere, these engine plumes are getting wider, which is perfect. So we keep pitching down. Also keep an eye on the apoapsis. We want to reach 70, but not quite too soon. We want to gain some horizontal speed as well. Okay, at this point we are 40 kilometers with our apoapsis. There we go. We get our first plasma. That is fine. Not optimal, but it's fine. There we go. And we are about to reach. Let's cut out at 80. So we run out now. We switch to the side engines and stop. There we go. Now the apoapsis is 80 kilometers. At this point, all we can do is go up to 80 kilometers, and when we are getting close, we can start circularizing our orbit. So let's get ready for it by pointing to the horizon. So in case you are wondering, let's go to the map view. This is our current trajectory. If we were just going straight up, we would go like this and fall back down. What we want is go to the side, to the east. Because if we go to the east, then you can see our trajectory is going this way. And if we are going to gain speed, then we are going to extend this further and further and further until we are going to get into orbit. Basically, orbiting is just continually falling by always missing the ground, basically. That is orbiting. So we are out of the atmosphere, and as we're getting close to our apoapsis, we are going to engage the engine. Let's see. Let's go for 79 or no, later. We want to be as close to our apoapsis as we can without overshooting it. It's a bit of a acquired talent, which I may not have, just so you know. Okay, let's engage. As you can see, these plumes are now wide because we are in space. So our periapsis is increasing. Perfect. Okay, let's stop. We are not quite there yet. We want still to not raise our apoapsis too high. So let's fast forward until we reach our height, is right about now. So again, we are pointing towards our prograde marker. Go, and we are officially in orbit. Atmosphere is only going up to 70 kilometers, and we are both our highest and lowest point of our orbit is above it. So, as you can see, our trajectory is now circularized around the planet. Perfect. So, at this point, we cannot really get any more science from these, from these two, because we already got science from space from these two. Let's see, yes, and this one as well. We can keep this one just to maximize, but what we can do is to get some EVA reports, because with EVA reports we can get localized science. So for now we are right above the oceans of Kerbin, so we get science report from just above Kerbin's water. So we keep this experiment and store it inside. And then we're just going to keep spamming this. We are still above the water. So we just keep doing this as we are going in circles around the planet. So let me increase the time acceleration and just keep spamming. We are still above the water. And we keep doing this until we reach something else, which should be, yeah, shores. Keep the experiment, store, EVA report, still above the shores. Now we are back above the water. Okay, after we should be able to get, let's see, the mountains, grassland, that's it. I think we already had this one, but yeah, because when we were escaping the atmosphere, we had this one, so that's fine. We are back above the water. We should be able to get maybe the highlands, the midlands, the mountains, the desert. Grasslands we already have. Highland, that's it. Store. Okay, the highlands we have. Grasslands we had. And we just basically keep doing this for one orbit. Basically, Jebediah is our Yuri Gagarin. And we have a bit of a lightning storm right here. Very, very nice. So we had the highlands, grasslands, highlands again. And as we progress around the planet, we keep making science. This lightning storm is because of the enhanced visual pack, so just so you know, it's not from vanilla, but it looks really nice. I don't know how much you can see from the YouTube compression, but in-game it looks really nice. So let's keep spamming science. Let's get ready for the sunrise. We are still above the highlands. Okay, now we can see some scattering of the atmosphere. We are getting close to our sunrise. I think I will capture the thumbnail for this episode when we reach the sunrise. Grassland still, grasslands. We are going to go over the ocean before we reach the desert. Okay, we are getting close. We are going to slow down as the sun rises. There we go. There it is. Press F2. And let's grab some pictures. In fact, let me... Oh, I cannot change the camera when we are in Kerbal mode. That's fine. But I can change the zoom and the pitch of the camera. There we go. Very nice. Okay, that's enough for now. Let's keep getting science. So we are back above the ocean, but I can already see the shores of the desert. So let's get to it. Still above the water. Move this out of the way a little bit. And let's see. Oh wait, that was just a shadow from the clouds. Where is the desert? There it is. Now I can see the mountains. So we are still above the water, of course. The game looks so much nicer with the visual enhancements. Oh yeah, what I thought was a desert was actually the sun reflection. Okay, now this is more obvious. So let's see. EVA report, water still, but mountains, that's it. Let's store that one. Shores we have. Well, whatever. Yes. Mountains we have. Grasslands we have. And now we are about to enter the desert. Let's slow down a little bit. Highlands we have. And after we have the desert, that's it. Save, store, and let's get back inside. Because let's try to land near the KSP. Let's see, which is... no. KS... the KSC, sorry. We have so many acronyms in this game that I will mess up sometimes. The Kerbal Space Center, the KSC, is right here. So, since we are going orbital, I should try to go for a shallow re-entry. So, let's see. Let's point the nav ball to the retrograde vector, which has a little X in it. And as we engage the engine, we are going to drop our periapsis. Let's drop it. Let's see. As the little orbit, yeah, that's it. As the trajectory disappears into the ground, then we can see where is the projected path of our spacecraft. Now keep in mind that as we are entering the atmosphere, the atmospheric drag is going to slow us down even more. So this is not the actual trajectory. This is just a estimation without the atmospheric drag. There are mods that will actually give you the exact position, but we are not using that one. Okay, so we are going to land hopefully relatively close to the KSC. So at this point we can switch from orbit to surface mode, because no, other way. Again, we want to face retrograde because I want the heat shield to meet the atmosphere first. So at this point we can just decouple this stage because we don't need it anymore. Bye bye. Keep us pointed retrograde. Maybe I should have ejected that stage a bit to the side, but that's fine. I think this will fall faster than us because we are actually looking like we have this flat surface pointing into the wind, but this one is just going to fall down. That's fine. And we have our eyes on this, the MUN. Okay, let's just fast forward until we get back into the atmosphere, which is right now. And I will disengage the SAS because the atmospherics will just point us towards in the right direction. And let's go home. So we are already losing speed and we are going to land way before the KSC. That's fine. So here comes the plasma. Let's grab some pictures here as well. Okay, we are landing before we even reach the continent. Oh well. We are going to lose a bit of money because we are recovering far from the space center, but that's fine. Engage the parachute and deploy. And now just slowly reach the water and splash down. And this little endeavor will going to give us a lot of science. Okay, and splash. At this point we are going to recover, and let's see what we get. Only 96 science. I was expecting a little bit more, but that's fine. Let's see. We got a lot more money, and Jebediah has leveled up. Now he's level 1, which will give us extra maneuver, automatic maneuver capabilities for him. So let's see what we can do next. We are not ready for the Mooney just yet. Oh yeah, I should have put this one on the spacecraft as well. Maybe next time. Before we do this, let's unlock some science, which you can do 2 more of these nodes. Let's see. General construction, the struts would be nice. I don't really want to bother with aviation, but these wheels would be nice to get some science from around the space center. This one I can do without. Maybe I unlock one of these. Let's see. Having this one would be really nice. This will allow us to create asparagus staging, which is a bit of a non-realistic staging method, but it will create a very fuel efficient. Yeah, let's get this one. And before we leave for today, let me just quickly show you what it means. So let's get rid of these. No, let's get rid of the entire stage and this one as well. So put 2 of these here. No, said 2 of these and 2 more here for just instructional purposes. Let's place yeah, 2 tanks on this. No, let's hold Alt, yes, and 2 here. We can place, now we can use the Reliant engine. There we go. We can also place nose cones. Now, don't worry about the part limits. In fact, let me just save this one and upgrade the VAB so we are not bothered about the part limits. Basically, if we upgrade the launchpad, it will increase the weight restrictions of the different vehicles we can build. And if we upgrade the VAB, the vehicle assembly building, it will increase the parts limits. There we go. And we can upgrade. It's a bit steep, but we are still dealing with pretty cheap rockets, so it's fine. So now we are not bothered about the part limits. So we are going to engage all the engines at once at the start. Then we are going to drop them in series. So let's start with these 2. So we are first going to drop this and this as they run out, and then we are going to drop this and this. But as you might have seen, we are using the same engine and they have the same amount of fuel. So technically they are going to run out at the same time, right? Well, this is why we have, where is it? Yeah, here it is, this fuel duct. Basically, if we want to drop this one first, let's put it on this here for cosmetic purposes. If we feed the fuel from this into this, then they are going to share the fuel. But this is feeding this one, so this will run out first. And then we can even also, let's make sure we mirror this one. There we go. And then to make it even more efficient, then we can feed these into the middle one. So basically all these engines are going to engage at the same time, and this one will empty out first, then we drop it, and then this will keep going, and then after this one runs we keep it, we drop it, and then we only have the middle one. So basically we linked all these fuel tanks together into one big one, and we can engage all these rockets at the same time. And we are going to lose weight pretty gradually, which makes all this very fuel efficient. Let's see. What we can do is add this new science experiment, the Science Junior, into our repertoire. What else? So we are going to start there, and then this one. At this point, I think I will use the Terrier engine. There we go, now we are 3500.V. It's pretty good. Let's see, we can add 4 fins for stability, because right now we only have the reaction wheel in the command pod and 1 gimbaling engine, so we should get some extra stability. What else can we do? I don't want to use service wave because that makes us pretty tall. Maybe can add a little bit of extra fuel by adding... Oh, that's too big. This one? Yes, this one. By adding these, we can give a tiny bit of extra fuel. Yeah, and even makes it look a bit nicer. And just to make sure that they fit graphically, can use a different model for these engines. There we go. This one as well. Let's remove the shroud. Let's see what it looks like. Let's go with this model. Let's put back the shroud. So with this rocket we have 3700.V. Do we have the... No, we don't. At this point I like to add those clamps that hold the rocket in place on the launch pad. And we don't have the struts either. So anyway, I will leave it at this right now. So let's see. Yeah, I will leave it like this. Let me get some extra missions and then I will sign out for this episode. Okay, what can we do? So we are not quite ready for... Wait, we only need the flyby. We might be ready for a flyby for next episode. So let me get this one. Anything else? Flight over to escape trajectory, no. What we can do, since we have 2 missions, and we have this for doing the decoupler when we are in orbit. So we don't really need that much fuel for the last stage. What we can do is maybe do this. Yes. So we have less fuel, of course, but it's also less heavy. So we are more fuel efficient, of course, that's good. At this point we already really need to add the decoupler. So, let's see, we need a D25, right? Yeah, TD25, so let's put it in place of this one. It will look a bit weird, but that's fine. Hopefully we can make it into orbit before we need to engage this engine. But to see if that is the case, we will need to wait until the next episode. So, thank you for watching. If you like the video, you can leave a like, leave a comment, maybe subscribe to the channel if you want. And until next time, I will see you later. Bye bye.